So I'm sure you've all noticed the last week, social media has been nothing but Palworld this and Palworld that. And you know what I've got to say to that?
Go away.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the game. I've yet to play it, so that wouldn't be very fair of me to do that. But I think it may just be a little overhyped. Like, yes, it is a fun game. I will even openly admit, watching it, it looks like a fun game. But is it like the next level like everyone's treating it? I don't think so. I think a lot of it is just everyone's hatred towards Game Freak and Nintendo right now for just lacking on the Pokemon front, where this just comes out of nowhere from like a underground developer and they just nail it out of the water. But the thing is I don't think that this game and Pokemon should be compared. I don't think it's a fair comparison because they are two completely different games. The only thing they have in common is monsters captured in balls. But Palworld is so much more than that. So much more. Where Pokemon focuses on that. That is the main premise of the game, battling these things and the story. That's it. And I'm not hating on Nintendo for their game being centered around that. It's worked. I enjoy it. I love their games. I will hate on Nintendo for their lack of quality in their games recently, but that's a different subject altogether. I think that's the only reason people should be taking Palworld and then shitting on Nintendo. Like, this is what your game should look like. Absolutely. But Palworld and Pokemon just shouldn't be compared. They're not the same that way. A game that you could take from Nintendo's library and be like, Nintendo, you should take this game and make it like Palworld, because it's already pretty much that game, but in a top-down 2D category. And the game I'm talking about is Rune Factory. Now, Rune Factory, if you don't know what it is a game by the Harvest Moon developers, and it's literally labeled the Fantasy Harvest Moon, and it's literally that. It's a Fantasy Harvest Moon where you have a farm or a ranch, and there's a whole town that you can interact with, and then there's also a cave that you go in, and it gets deeper and deeper, and you fight monsters, but eventually you will get this glove called the Friendship Glove, and you can actually tame these monsters to work on your farm, fight alongside you, or even ride around. Now, if you've played Palworld, you're just like, hey, that sounds like the same game, only fantasy or guns. It's different methods of killing. Swords or guns. I don't know. That's all I really wanted to cover. Is just, I don't think it's fair that Pokemon's getting all this shit when being compared to a game that is not the same in any way, shape, or form. But if you still wanted to hate on Nintendo, then be like, hey, you should recreate this game to be like this. But Pokemon, I don't feel needs to be an open world like they're trying to make it, like they're trying to give you guys because you keep asking. And I feel like that's what's hurting the most, is that they're on a console that has limited power and all these demands of making it something huge and big. I don't think it needs to be that way. I like the fact that the Pokemon are on the overworld now. There's no random encounters. You find the Pokemon. Love that. But I don't feel it needs to be a huge open world. I just wanted to cover that and say that I don't think it's a direction that Game Freak needs to go in with Pokemon. It's a turn-based RPG, and I think that it's perfectly fine that way. I understand that right now, third-person open worlds are huge. But if everything goes in that direction, then where's the variety in gaming, right? I think it's fine the way it is. And honestly, this I may be the only one with this opinion right now, but I would be perfectly okay if actually Nintendo took a step back and said, we were on a console that is limiting us. I think we should take Pokemon and take a step back to the way it was. Now, we can keep a few of the features that are in the newer games, like the Pokemon spawning in the overworld, but keep it more of a top-down, not necessarily 2D. You can keep it 3D, but keep it a top-down view with Pokemon spawning in the overworld. Still have a crazy big world, and still have the gyms and the routes, but go bigger. Instead of limiting the game and having a big world, have a big game. You still have a big world, just don't have it completely open. If you agree with me, please, down in the comments, leave me a comment. Let me know your opinion on everything I've said, even if it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Or if you have any questions, I'll try and literate it a bit better for you. But yeah, I don't feel it's a way Pokemon needs to go. Like, everything's... And maybe it's because I'm getting older. I'm 30 now. I don't think it needs to evolve into what almost all franchises are becoming. This open world 3D, like, not everything needs to be that. Yes, it's big, and yes, it sells. But Pokemon has a structure that works, and I feel like Pokemon's slowly drifting away from that structure, and I don't feel I'm the only one that feels this way. But as soon as it kind of leaves that structure of, like, turn-based RPG with gyms and focusing on the story, I don't think I'll be as interested. I'm going to leave it at that, though. I've had multiple takes here. I've been trying to get this all together in a way that works just by running off my head. I'm not good at coming up with scripts or anything. I wanted to be natural and more or less convey how I feel, honestly. So hopefully I can do it some justice and edit it up in a logical way. So yeah. Thank you for listening. I hope you feel the way I do, and I'll talk to you in the comments. Peace out.